Hi there. This is a lot prepper, and this article is about the top 10 reasons why you should stay in the city during an SHTF situation here. Now, he's talking about here that, if you live in a big city or given a suburb, even a suburb, sorry, you've probably been told more than a few times, especially just run for the hills. Get out of there, get going, evacuate, get in stuck in that traffic with everybody else, and you're stuck for hours and chaos, and you're trying to get out of town and go for it. Stack the pack on with the necessities and get going. That's what you do. So that's what they're telling you. Head for the countryside. But the problem is a lot of people just not able to do it, to be honest with you. In reality, a lot of people don't have the transportation. A lot of people don't have the funds to do it. So it's a lot to think about in a situation and where you're going to end up at. So it says, well, today we're going to take a deeper look, he says, into the popular saying, talk about preparation, bugging out, and things in these cities. And then here are the top 10, the 10 reasons why you're more likely to be safer staying where you are. He's talking about if you're a prepper, you stockpile things, and you've got food and water and things. So it all about how much of that can you put in your vehicle, how much of it can you put in your bug out bag. You went to trouble prepping up all these supplies in an SHTF situation, but you're going to leave the house and you're going to, you know, so that's what he's talking about basically that. It says in episode 932 of the Survival Pod, he's talking about, interviewed a man named this in here is talking about the gentleman who lived during the wartime from I think it was 92 to 95 during the war situation, and I've done an article on it. It's talk about where they lived in the rural area, they lived in a home, and things they went through on trading and surviving in a situation. He was talking about how people was heading to the woods, and people ended up dying out there in the woods because so many people headed out there for that situation and really exposed themselves to other people who would start robbing from them, as well as nature itself. So, talks about here that right here it talks about number another huge advantage to staying in place is that you can prepare your location now for the issues you'll be likely to face in a WROL and a SHTF scenario. Trying to harden or reinforce your location during a crisis is going to be much harder than putting those plans and projects together now, so that if this kind of situation were to ever happen, you'll be ready for it. He talks about the fact of bugging out with a 50-pound bug out bag, how much you can pack in it. As a test run, pack your backpack down and take it to the park and walk with it. See how it feels and try it and see if this will work for you. Maybe you need to go to a smaller backpack. Maybe you need to reroute some of it. Maybe you need to change some of it around and think in a situation what is more important, what is less important in this situation here, and reroute it. So you need to test your backpack out in a bug out situation. So it's talking about, of course, it's talking about, the bugging out is so it says it doesn't matter if the next coming of Rambo and you think you can defend your location with one hard try behind your back. Numbers matter. It's a real SHTF without rule of law scenario. There is a real chance that people could band together in groups to take supplies from others by force. We've seen this happen and time again. Every time a big hurricane hits America, your only chance to defend yourself against something like this is with a community of like-minded people willing to help each other. Is it more likely that you'll find this community in your current neighbors, or is it more likely that some random group of farmers is just going to happen to let you in to their close-knit community? I'm putting my money on the neighbors forming a community. Again, he's back to talk about this gentleman, as I was saying, is Talking about what he lived through the war and everything, and their family banded together to survive in this situation. Now, it depends on your neighbors that you got. I'll be honest with you, in my situation, I wouldn't count on my neighbors. There's a few that might be possible, but can I totally count on them? I don't think so. And it may be the adults might be fine, but the kids might not be fine. The kids might be fine, and the adults might not be fine. So me developing a community here would not be a good situation in my case here where I'm at. Does not mean it would not be a good case in your situation. It is something to think about. It says bugging out is one of the biggest security risks you can take. Everyone seems to think that bugging out is a solution to a security problem. This is far from the case. Bugging out only makes more security problems worse. Sure, if you got a well-stocked bug out location with a close-knit group of preppers waiting for you, then ye once you're there. So, he's talking about this here. And again, that's something to think about. Where are you going to go in this bug out situation? Do you have other members that's going to meet you there? Are you and whoever you're with having to do this alone? It's a lot to think about. You got to think about your physical limits, your health, your food supply, where you're going to get more food along the way, what route you're going. That's a lot to think about. And if you did not grow up in that state and you're somewhere where you've only been for 2 or 3 years, you still don't know the area very well, there's still a lot of mistakes that can be made. And even if you know it well, you still can make a lot of mistakes. So that's a lot to think about right there. Another one is how well do you know that area you are bugging out? So basically, we're just talking about that right now. Just talking about where the closest water source is, edible plants, and things like that. I find that a lot of preppers, depends on what type they are. There's many of them is more towards ammunition and things in that area, self-defense and all that. A lot of them has very little, if any, knowledge at all on edible plants at all. The bushcraft people tend to be more outdoorsy, of course, and tend to have more knowledge of nature out there, as well as a lot of survivalists. But not all preppers go that route, especially in the urban prepper situation and all that. Their situation is within the cities, and you have to prep and adapt in the areas. You do need to know about edible plants and things. You need to learn at least 10 plants to help you survive. And if you don't not certain about it, don't touch it. And so that is something you need to think about. Another huge advantage to staying in place is that you can prepare your location. Now for the issues you'll be likely to face in WROL or shtf scenario. Try to harden or reinforce your location during a crisis. It's going to be much harder than putting those plans and projects together later. So, and you don't have to go out and buy it all at once. If you've got windows in your house, you need to think about getting plywood. You need to think about how you're going to reinforce that. You need to think about possibility of putting bars on your windows, and I'm not talking about welding them in necessarily. You can have them fixed it where it can be, where you can take the bars off and on and clamp them in securely in a situation. You can have that made that way if you want to do that, in case you need to get out the windows or whatever. That is something to think about also. The thing about putting, and then of course your doors. Thinking about metal doors, for example, instead of wooden doors. Think about the type of storm door that you want to put in front. You see some of them using the metal raw doors and things to reinforce. It's something to think about what you want to change around. And you don't have to do it all at once. You can do it a little at a time in a situation, as well as security methods and things like that. There is several low-cost things you can do in a situation like that. For example, you could place nails on the windows on the inside. So that way if they do break in, they come in and they're climbing through the window, they are going to get nails in their foot as well. You can also use fishing line. It's They don't see it, but you can also fix it up along the bottom of the doorways and things, and they will come along and trip and fall over. You can make many of your homemade traps in the house, homemade security things to help protect you in a situation on things like that. So that's something to think about. I mean, you're not necessarily want to kill him, but you just want to kind of delay him for you to get out in a situation if you need to. And then another one's how well do you know the area that you're bugging out to? And then it says that most like city dwellers, you probably know every very every inch of at least a few blocks from your home. You probably could get around with your eyes closed. You probably could point out the closest water source and so on that. Like I said, another huge advantage of staying in place, of course, is your issues, like I said. And then another one is shtf disaster is, despite contrary opinion, is unlikely. Yes, the threat is out there, and yes, it is a good idea to be ready for them if the unlikely occurs. However, even in an event like this, the idea that organizations, governments, utilities, and communications will never be restored is next to impossible. It says the order will most likely be restored. The next to impossible. The grill will come back on, and eventually, little by little, life will return to some sense of normal life, basically. So, you don't know it. Like I say, you hear about small SHTF events all the time, and people going for 2 or 3 weeks without lights and heat and things like that, and they had to go stay in shelters and things of that area. This is what it's talking about. That eventually they would kind of restore things, but you still need to look at the fact is, what if they don't? How am I going to survive in this situation? Don't just take for granted that everything's going to be back to normal simply within a matter of a couple of weeks or so, because it may not be for quite some time, as it has shown in wars all around the world that it can be chaos for a number of years before things gets back to normal. So you need to think along that term. So then it also says, most preppers justify a rural bug out by saying that there are many more resources out there than there are in the city. This may be true. Personally, I think that's debatable. But just because those resources are there doesn't mean they're yours. You're not going to just go out there and start digging up a farmer's crop, fishing and hunting on a farmer's land. Rural people defend their land. They're proud people, armed people, and are used to their landscape and defending it. It is unwise to assume that just because there may be resources out in the country that you ever come close to getting your hands on them. And that's the point. You may know of places where they have gardens. You think you're going to go out there and just get that food. It's not the case, because they're going to defend what they got. So chances are you can get blown away in that situation. So that's something to think about on that. What you need to do is be able to create your own natural gardens and stuff. You need to be able to plant some of your own plants in remote areas that you know about, so you can go and gather your food when you need it, and check on it from time to time, and go out there and cut down some of the weeds, create your natural mulch, and continue with that. And also, you need to also learn about other plants that you can have that grows in people's gardens around town. Since bugging out does make sense in some situations, if your location has been compromised or is unsafe and the risk of being exposed is less than the risk of staying put then you need to go. And that sometimes you may have to on that. Okay, so it said we should never stop for a second and put a quick disclosure in here, of course. So, talk about SHTF situation, all this. But you can go here and really read this article complete more. I'm just going over the highlights on this here. Again, like I say, it's called the top 10 reasons why you probably better off staying in the city during the disaster. Do not get too much comfort counting on the government to take care of everything. There's going to be problems. If you decide to stay in town because for whatever reason whether it's physical limits or financial limits or no transportation or whatever. You need to think about how to secure your home and use things that's cheap. Using mouse traps can also deter people when they're breaking in as well. It also makes you aware when they're stepping into place at night and they're stepping on them. And it's also making you aware that somebody is in the house when you set these traps as well. There are several things you can do to kind of take care of yourself during that situation and make yourself aware. And of course, not having your food all in one spot helps as well. So that's something to think about. Bugging in. How long do you think you're going to stay there? The chaos in the roads. Are you able to afford to leave? Are you able to afford to go somewhere else? Is there anywhere else you can go? If not, then you need to think about having to stay where you're at. And there may be a time you will be forced to leave, and then maybe time things will get restored over a period of months, maybe in years. You have to think along that route. So this is some good points. You let me know what you think of these points, okay? So this is a live prayer for you. Be safe, be happy. Bless you all.